Okay, a very good evening to all of you, my friends, well wishes, and those of you who were always looking for our program live on television every Thursday at 6 p.m. Welcome to the program once again. And this is your Health and You with Dr. Haynes and Dr. Haynes.
Uh,
Dr. Richard, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
hmm
Uh, Thanks for the invite again.
Well, we have a lot of work to do, so I need your presence and I need your help
No,
because a lot of folks are depending on us to deliver, and we can't disappoint them because
no, no.
I was reminded today by a taxi driver actually.
Wow.
He said he can remember when he was very small. He said he's very small. That he was looking at this program on television
hmm
and he's wondering if I am the Dr. Haynes that used to be on the program all the time.
Oh my goodness.
So I said,
He was
yeah,
very small.
as far as I know, there was only one. He said, but you look like him. You look like him a little bit, which was good because he said when he was small. So if I still look like somebody he knew back then, it's good. But he says, when was that? About 1990 something, 95 or 97, 96. I said 96.
Wow. It's a long time ago.
We started this program in 1996. And we're still on television after all that time.
Wow.
And it's the longest, as far as I know, health program on television that's been around in this country. I don't know if it's another one, but and then he said to me, he said, but there was a guy that used to be on the radio. Guy used to be on the radio named Dr. Haynes too. I said, it's the same guy. I said, it's the same person that used to be on radio. So I used to be on radio. We used to have a program called Doctor on Call on radio.
hmm
And it used to happen, I think, is on Wednesday night. And I used to be a Doctor on Call on the radio. I mean, the whole country. This is for Guyana.
hmm
And then I used to write in the Starbuck Chronicle. I used to write on men's health in the Chronicle many years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So, this is something that I could probably write a dialogue. Maybe you can have episodes on all of the programs I did going back 1996.
Where, where's the copy of those?
Well, back then, uh, we didn't use to copy all the time, but then we started having CDs.
Okay.
Started making CDs, and I have a lot of CDs,
You need to
lots.
start playing them again.
I plan to show them back. I've got lots of them on channel 2. I had some on channel 67 or 16, and I have some all over the place. I have them all over.
Wow.
But I would gather some of them and probably look back at them and see which ones we can show. But I covered so many things back then, so many topics, and these topics that I covered back then are topics that we still need to cover today
hmm
because many persons have not learned that many of the diseases that we have, we bring them onto ourselves. For instance, today we're going to talk about worms and parasites, and that is something that I've talked about on and on for years gone by.
mm
So nothing new has happened, but we have new technology, we have new information, and I'm seeing more and more topics that are leading towards AI. I've been sending you some of them
mm
where they're talking about AI as the new hospitals, basically.
Wow.
They said that AI is going to replace many of the doctors. I guess that's because of the diagnoses. You know,
hmm
um, it's so funny that in our work, if you look at it properly, when we compare the physical being to the device is the person there is an AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's an image of a man and a woman
Mm-hmm.
that comprises of the perfect frequency of every organ. So, in a sense, we are way ahead of what they talked about now.
Yeah, I mean, if you just change the terminology a little bit, the A is artificial and I is image.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
We have the perfect artificial image of a human specimen
Mm-hmm.
in the device, which you're right, it makes good sense.
Yeah.
And when we screen you, you're being compared to a perfect organ from head
Right.
to toe.
That's correct.
So there is no difference in what they're saying now, except that the word is a little different. Instead of intelligence, we have image.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, so it is important that persons understand that when we connect them to the devices, it is not something that is guessing what is wrong with you. When you connect to those devices, it's your imperfect body system that is connected to a perfect body system that informs you of what are your imperfections in your body,
Mm-hmm.
and that is from where we work.
Yeah.
You see, so it is known. It is known that it is guaranteed accurate in the world 96% in
Mm-hmm.
this diagnosis, and it's been around over 40 years in major hospitals in Europe
Mm-hmm.
and in many doctors' offices over there. We've had it now over 10 years, and I have absolutely no regrets, none, because we've seen the byproduct of those who follow the rules. When the diagnosis is made
Mm-hmm.
and information is uh, released as to what you need to avoid and what needs to be done, if they follow, they get the results. If it's not too late, because some persons get here just too late, and it's very difficult to bring back uh, images when uh, it's very difficult to bring back an organ or to have it resuscitated when
Mm-hmm.
all the cells are damaged and dead already. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. Even though they rejuvenate themselves, many of them, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah. It takes time, and meanwhile, the person is maybe in a lot of pain too. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Anyhow, welcome once again, and I just wanted to get that in so we can get that information out as to the fact that this health message has been around for many, many years. Many years. I really don't think of it. I don't think of the time and the efforts. And I started out on television on Channel 9 in Guyana with a guy by the name of Roger Moore. Roger Moore. Roger has died many years now, and when we started, it was something that hardly existed.
Mm.
Yeah,
With Roger Moore.
Roger Moore sounds like James Bond, right?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're
Yeah, Roger Moore.
you were dealing with 007 there.
07. Yeah,
Yeah.
Roger was a nice guy, and he had some issues with his health, and then he migrated to London,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if he had stayed in Guyana, where we were doing the program, and and I was on his case about a lot of things, which he had changed. I think Roger might have still been here today. Who knows? Because I was able to get Roger to quit smoking like in 1 week. Roger used to smoke like terrible, terrible.
Mm.
And when he started coughing from the congestion in his lungs,
Yeah.
um, I mean, it was nonstop coughing. You know, so but he's gone now, and we're still here doing our work, and uh, we have a lot of people we've helped already, and we got a lot more to help. And Dr. Richard, I need your help in many ways. So,
Mm.
of course, stay the course.
Yeah. Seen a lot of cases. As a matter of fact, in the topic of worms, I've seen a lot of cases this week of worms.
Oh yes,
A lot of worms. A lot of cases. He looked like he disappeared, man.
no, I'm right here,
Right there.
right here. I'm responding to someone who's texting me and listening to you,
Yeah.
and I'm telling them to tune into the program.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
A lot of worms this week, and it's interesting that you decided to mention it because um, I think the worms are coming out from the woodwork this time of year.
yes, I it's really interesting because we had a situation with a patient who, well, she wasn't a patient yet. She still isn't.
Mm.
But we talked about parasites and worms, and she, she questioned it. Doctor, I don't think I have parasites or worms. I don't think so. That's something that happens to children.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and uh, I said, the older you get, the bigger the worms. I said, the older you get, the bigger the worms, the larger the worms.
Yeah. Wow.
And she said, I don't know. So I told her to purchase the Parasite Cleanse medicine. And I'd like my operator to put it on the screen as we talk about it, right? Because she told me I got permission from her to use it.
Mm.
Yes. And she got the medicines for parasites and worms, and she took it. And I think the image is on the screen. We can't see it, but it's on the screen, I'm told.
Mm.
And she said what she decided to do was to look back at what is coming out of her. And if you had access to the screen, you would see what came out of her, not once, not twice, at least 3 times when she looked back.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Massive worms.
Wow.
Not only worms that are tiny either.
Big fat ones.
Yeah.
What?
Just like I said to her, the bigger you are, the bigger the worms.
My goodness.
And
Yeah.
she was alarmed and texted me and then called me and said, I can't believe it, this, that, the other. But now she's an advocate. Yeah. She's telling everyone, take the worm medicine.
Hmm.
Take it. Just take it.
Yeah.
Detoxify yourself and all that because uh, she said she used to hear these things in her. And she felt things that made her think it was gas.
Mm-hmm.
And she always believed it was gas. She never imagined it was worms.
I wonder what was she hearing? I mean, yeah.
They make songs in you. The larger they get, it's like
Mhm.
it's like when you hear the sound of a submarine, or when you hear the sound of a seal.
Well, I guess you heard both of them. You were in the Navy, so
Yeah, I was
I don't know what a submarine sounds like.
You gotta Google it, man. You gotta Google it. But sorry, I forgot that you weren't involved in that. But you hear the sound like a sonar sound,
Oh, okay.
and it sounds like gas. It does sound like gas, but those worms communicate with each other by frequency.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, they're in you, and if they're in there for years, she had some serious lungworms.
yeah,
And uh, I know for a fact that millions of people have those in them. Millions. Millions of people. And they have no clue that it's worms, you know.
yeah.
And I read an article at one time. I was studying cancer at one time a few years back. And I came across the article and looking for it. There's so many books I have and so much information I have that one of the scientists said, an oncologist,
Mhm.
he said one of the biggest, most contributory factors to cancer is worms.
Wow, I
Yeah.
believe that too.
And when I read it, to me at first it didn't register, and I kept reading it that chapter over and over, and it kept leading to that. One of the biggest, most contributory factor to cancer is worms.
Yeah.
And the more I got into this is long before I got the device.
Mhm.
So I really couldn't see the worms. Before the device, I really couldn't see them because I just knew that they were in people. But until we got the device, I couldn't see the worms and where they were. You see, so when I got the device, I
Mhm.
got the information again and read it back, and it made a whole lot of sense. It made a whole lot of sense because now we're seeing, and I've seen back then, where these worms contribute to cancer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fully documented, especially in the topic of cancer. Um, I mean, the worms. There's worms by the name of Opus turcisis, right? The
Yeah,
Opus
yeah.
turcisis, and there are three of them. I was telling actually telling and showing somebody uh, today. There's Opisticus sinensis, Opisticus felinus, Opisticus vivianus,
Uh,
viviani. They call it vivirani. Um, these worms, all three of them, they're evident in people who eat a lot of fish,
yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And I can always tell, like I tell people, you know, as I go through it, I say, hey, there's a lot of worms. And these worms, we see them and we know exactly what you eat. You eat a lot of fish. You say, oh, yeah, I had a whole lot of fish. That's all I eat.
Yeah.
And all three of those worms in there.
Yeah.
And all three of those worms, they're known to cause cancer of the liver.
Yeah. They do. They live at the liver.
Yeah, the liver. You
Hmm.
know, and a lot of them cause diarrhea, and sometimes they obstruct the bile duct because there's so many of them.
But see, the thing that happens that people don't think of is that these worms they eat, mess, and multiply in your body system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they nest and they form nests and they coil. They look like a ball of twine sometimes,
Hmm.
or because they're at the organ. And when you do an X-ray or an ultrasound or something, you see this mass, and you think, oh, that's a tumor, and it most likely is cancerous, and
Yeah,
sometimes it is,
yeah, yeah,
but it's a nest of worms that have coiled and are destroying your organs.
yeah. And they go into the bile duct, and then they go into the duodenum, and the pancreatic duct.
Yes.
So your pancreas is fine, but then the insulin that it produces is not able to leave.
Hmm.
So you're coming down with high blood sugar, and diabetes and things like that. And so I see the worms. I saw a whole lot of them. and I'm saying, well, it's not. I don't like when I see so many of this particular, a worm because it it really have me looking for cancer cells.
Yeah.
I mean, the light. I mean, the light comes on, and I start looking for cancer cells. Anytime opisthothisis appears, and when it's the first thing on the list,
Yeah.
and sure enough, there were cancer cells.
Hmm.
You know, and people need to know. I mean, you eat a lot of fish. You know, like I said before, fish is a double and triple whammy. You eat the fish, you can get H. Helicobacter pylori
Oh yeah.
that goes and attacks your stomach
Hmm.
and your gastrointestinal system. And then they have the worms. The worms look like it's freedom. I can go in the liver. I can go wherever I can go. I can go in the pancreas. You know, they go all over the places, all over the place, and they create a problem.
Well, the worms are like the submarine in the ocean,
Uh,
except that the worms in your blood, in your arteries and blood vessels.
yeah.
They just travel. They have a good time swimming and crawling up and down there, and they own the territory
Hmm. Hmm.
until you realize it and you decide to take something to poison them because I was thinking today that we need to come up with a term and maybe have a week, 1 week where we would decide on allowing or discussing war against the worms. We need to have a war against the worms in the human body system.
Yeah, because they have a war against us.
Yeah, they're actually winning the war because many persons don't even think they have worms.
Yeah, they don't. And when you check, you see a whole lot because that's all. I mean, all people are eating is flesh, man. They're eating a lot of meat. And today I saw something. Uh, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you run across this fasciola,
Oh yeah,
fasciola,
oh yes,
and that is usually people who eat a lot of goats and sheep and things like that.
it's like wild meat,
Yeah,
deer, and all that.
sure enough, the guy
Yeah,
eats a lot of goats and a lot of sheep,
yeah.
and that one goes in the liver too. You
But
know.
the persons who, when we speak with them, at least when I speak with them, they say, "But Doc, I really don't eat much fish, but I eat a lot of seafood.
Oh,
I eat a lot of seafood,
wow.
And I listened and I said, well, where does the fish live?
Hmm.
The seafood comes from pretty much the same source, and they all pretty much eat the same things.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of them are scavengers. They're worse than some fish because
yeah,
they eat at the bottom.
yeah,
When you eat from the soil and you're eating from the bottom, I mean, you're eating the real garbage. You're eating the mess. You're eating
yeah.
the filth. You're eating.
You can poop because a lot of these worms and a lot of the eggs in this, you know, for these particular worms, they're found in fecal matter. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
fecal matter in humans, fecal matter in animals. Dogs, cat, things like that. And when your food source is that, then and God made the system whereby they have in every on the land and the sea they have scavengers.
Oh yes.
You know,
Yep.
and when you eat the scavenger who eats those things, and they have within their own system, their own body, uh, uh, chemicals and hormones and things to destroy those you know those parasites. But we don't have that. We don't have that. There are
Hmm.
people who eat snails and they eat all sorts of things, and the Sister Sarkaria which is another name of another form of the the worm. It goes through different stages. The host of it is a snail, and when you eat the snail or you eat all these different conch and all these different things, which conch is a big snail, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
A big snail.
big snail
They live in the drain. They live in the
in the shell. It looked like it's
yeah.
yeah,
We see them in the gutter, in the
yeah, yeah,
drain.
yeah. When you eat all that stuff, you actually eating the host of these different worms, you know, and sometimes the intermediate host of these worms. You ingesting all that stuff, and it goes in you, and it matures into a big worm, and then you poop it out. You know, you flush your toilet, thinking everything is okay, but where is that sewer going? A lot of times, it's going into the ocean, it's going into rivers, it's going wherever.
It's going right back where they come from.
Yeah, and it's a vicious cycle.
Vicious cycle.
Those the fish eat those things, and then you eat the fish.
Well, actually, there are a lot of fish that eat poop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Poop is very rich.
But listen, they use it in some countries. They use it as fertilizer. They
Fertilizer.
grow stuff. They can grow some big stuff too, some big vegetables.
It grows some huge potatoes.
Yeah, but you got to be careful because a lot of times when they have these E. coli breakout and things like that, it's usually fecal matter that they're using as fertilizer.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's rich in a lot of phosphates and nitrates and so forth, which is very beneficial to plants. But what comes with all that? You know,
You remember when you plant the plant, if I can say that, and you plant the plant with the fecal matter, whatever is in there goes in the plant.
yeah, it goes, or it hangs out in the leaves and whatever it is that if you're making, a lot of people used to make, they would take, fecal matter from either, you know, cows, right?
Hmm.
Or goats or whatever, or even chicken, and they would fertilize, they put it in the soil, and they would plant a lot of lettuce, and the thing would grow nice.
Yes, exactly.
But the fecal matter if it's contaminated with whatever,
It
you know,
goes in the plant.
yeah, you're eating the leaves of the thing, and that's
As
a
a
lot of
matter of fact,
that is recalls.
as a matter of fact, there's a worm that's called a whipworm,
Yeah. Hmm.
and the whipworm comes from
Hmm.
fruits and vegetables.
Hmm. Hmm.
See, so what you're saying there, um, this just blends in with the fact that we can get the whipworm
Hmm.
consuming fruits and vegetables that are not cared for properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see, so I mean, there's so many worms and so many parasites, and we haven't
Yeah.
touched hardly
We,
half
have,
of
we
them yet.
haven't started anything. I mean, we haven't even touched the thing. We have
You haven't
roundworms,
you
we
haven't even
have
touched
tapeworms, we have hookworms, we have all sorts of pinworms.
tapeworms, threadworms, ringworms.
Yeah,
So they say ringworm is a fungus, I think,
yeah,
right?
it's a fungus, you
Yeah,
know, but it has the worm in it, because it looks like when you look at it on superficially, it has like a curvature, like a
pattern.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's why they name it that. But I mean, there are worms that go in the eye, you know.
Yeah, the one that is dangerous. That's very,
They
very
call it
dangerous.
onchocerca all that stuff causes, blindness, things like that.
Yeah, I don't. I think when we speak of that worm, that particular, I think it's two of them that do that.
Hmm.
Many persons are alarmed and are in disbelief to know that a worm can live in the back of the eye.
Yeah.
How does that worm get in there? They say, how does that worm get in there? Well,
Yeah.
you don't think of a mosquito.
Hmm.
We don't think of the danger. I don't like nothing that flies, that comes to bite me, or comes in like a fly, a mosquito. But I don't like those things.
Hmm.
A mosquito is one of the most dangerous insects out there. One of the most dangerous, and every time people don't think that you have a dog or a cat in your yard or in your house,
Hmm.
that mosquito will go and bite that cat or dog,
Yep.
extract larvae out of them,
Hmm.
And when they bite you, they deposit them in you.
Yeah.
And those larvas manifest into you.
They grow and they be mature. You
And they
know.
mature and get into the soft tissues.
Hmm.
And one of the softest areas is right in the back of your eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And filaria is another one. You can go those
Yeah.
worms from the mosquito
Yeah.
bite.
Mess up your lymphatic system, and then you have
Yeah.
lymphedema. You
Yeah.
know,
Your leg starts swelling, and this starts swelling, and that starts swelling.
we when we were small, we used to say people have Bigfoot.
Yeah, we don't understand why.
We didn't understand. We didn't
Yeah.
know. We see the swelling, and it's happening a lot today still. It's more controlled, but that's your lymphatic system that occurred as a result of a mosquito
Hmm.
doing its work on your body system,
Hmm.
messing with your lymphatic system.
Clogging it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's so many eggs that were deposited in there, and they multiply, they grow, and they just go in there and they block your system, and nothing can come back, or no fluids coming out.
Hmm.
So we don't, we don't think, especially those of us who have animals,
Yeah.
cows and sheep and goat and dogs and cats in our yards and our homes. We don't know the danger that we are exposing ourselves to because of what can happen to them that can happen to us.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who grew up in the Caribbean, worms, and that. Uh, we're familiar with what normally happens. Like I asked somebody, when was the last time you got dewormed?
Uh,
Man, I don't tell. I can't tell when the last time. But you remember when you were a child.
oh yes,
You were used to be scratching and itching and all that, and people have to run and catch you, and they used to have to open your bottom and
yes,
fish them worms out. You could see, you know,
yeah. They're living.
you know,
They're living
right there.
in there.
Huh?
Yeah, they're coming out alive.
Yeah, they were coming wiggling too.
Yeah,
You know, you remember that as a child. A lot of people in the West, if grew up in the Caribbean and also in South America, where we are, they had that experience, and it's real. Worms are real, you know.
yes, yeah,
And like you said earlier, as you get older, they didn't die. You know, a lot of those worms will live in you even after you're dead.
of course,
Because they are feasting on you even now.
of course, of course. So it is something that we need to really educate people on and talk about what should be done to eradicate the worms.
Hmm.
What should be done? I say to persons now, many times I've said it over and over, and I say it more now. Uh, I would ask them, how many times per year do you clean your house? You know, how many times per year you clean your house? So a year? I clean my house every week.
Hmm.
So I said, well, what would happen if you don't clean it every week and you just leave it for a year? I said, I can't imagine there's be so much stuff. You know, I says, good. When is the last time you cleanse your body system? I haven't done that. I only shower, but I'm talking about internally. When is the last time you did an internal cleaning of your body system? Because when I ask you about cleaning your house, we're talking about inside.
Hmm.
Right? I'm talking about in your body system. When was the last time you did a cleansing on the inside of your body system? Doc, I've never done that. Many persons, many have never done that. You need to detoxify your body and deworm your body system almost as much as you do your house.
Hmm.
Because if you don't, think of what accumulates in there. You think that everything that you eat comes out of you when you go to the toilet? It doesn't. When you drink a Coca-Cola, do you urinate it out? Does it come out the way you drink it? You know, or Pepsi, or maybe some of those red colored drinks. When you drink sour, does it come out red?
Mm.
Where does all that stuff go when it's in your body, and then it doesn't come out the same color?
No.
You think when you eat all that meat, all that fish, all that conch, all that, you know, you think when you go to the toilet. As a matter of fact, I got one for you.
Mm.
I was speaking with someone the other day, last week, about detoxifying body systems, and she got to the point where she really understood what I meant. She said, "Doc, when you think of it, right? I know people who, when they go to the toilet to defecate, you can't hang around there.
Mm.
You can't hang around. You gotta leave." I said, "Why you gotta leave?" She said, "Doc, it stinks. It smells. It's obnoxious."
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say, well, if you smell that coming out of someone that you can't stand to be around here, imagine what's happening to that person's organs.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what's coming out of there is exactly what's going on inside there.
Yeah, a lot
Something is spoiled or rotten or gone bad in there.
fermentation, man.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of fermentation.
So if you were one out there that is passing gas, and when you pass the gas, you yourself can't stand the smell, for heaven's sake, you need to visit us. Visit us so we can help you to understand what to do
Oh boy,
to remove the stench from inside of you.
it they'll visit you because you can handle it.
You visit us, but don't pass it here.
Come with an empty tank.
Make sure you come with an empty tank. Don't come with a full tank. You know. But it's serious. It's really serious, and the same thing happens when it comes out of your breath. If you have a stench coming out of your mouth, it's
Mhm.
coming from down inside of your stomach,
Yeah.
down in there.
Most times, or if you had some dental work done, and to do something.
Yeah, very. It comes maybe out of the gingivitis or something in the gums or so. But
Some people have problems with rotten teeth and things like that.
yeah,
Bacteria,
but
and
you
that
gotta
bacteria in your mouth, tends to go
clear,
to the heart and affects
clear
it.
that bacteria, doc. You gotta remove that bacteria, because if you're talking to people,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go facing them with that.
Yeah, and then it depends. Some people drink alcohol, and that can come out sometimes not so pleasant.
Yeah,
Um, Especially people that drink heavily. You know, but it's we are a product of what we consume. Our
yeah.
food, man. I got this book. Let your food be the medicine, and your medicine be your food.
Nice. I see it. I see it. Nice. That is what I teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you dig your grave with your teeth and you eat yourself into your grave. You got to look for that one too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be good seeing that you've been on for so long to get maybe a book going, man. You got people that grew up listening to what you espouse, and a
Yeah.
lot of times people remember all those things, and when they are told there's no hope, they come looking for you.
I have been told that a few times. I decided that when I retire, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna do some writing and publishing, and so when I retire.
Yeah.
And then someone said to me, "You think you're gonna retire?"
No, you can't retire. This sort of work, there's no retirement. Yeah. I'll tell you.
But so I would say, rephrase it, when I slow down
Yeah.
and I have some time where I can write some more. I'm gonna, because I did a lot of writing in the Chronicle. I did a lot of writing, and
Collect those articles.
Joy has all of them.
Oh, really?
Joy used to keep all those articles, and she still has them somewhere.
Yeah. Put them up on the website.
I mean, stacks of them. It's Maybe I'll have to talk to another. We have all this technology. We can look
Yeah,
at
you
that.
can load up all them CDs and or DVDs that you may have
We have a lot,
and put them on there.
hundreds of them.
Because listen, no knowledge is lost.
Yeah,
No knowledge is lost, and this sort of knowledge, it's not old. We think that we living in a modern society, and no longer the things that we did in the past growing up. We think we don't have to do them anymore. Yeah, you have to still deworm.
yeah.
The
And
worms, they're still there.
I say at least twice per month on a weekend.
Wow.
Yes, you detox and deworm. You and your children.
Somebody asked me that today, as a matter of fact, how much, because we're finding a whole lot of worm, and they were like, "Oh my goodness."
You don't want to give them a chance to manifest.
Yeah.
You cannot help because of what you consume, and some people will never stop eating the things that we talk about that are dangerous.
Hmm.
So, to help yourself and to help your body system, it is suggested that, I mean, there are many places and physicians who would say, no, you deworm once every 6 months. I said, no,
Yeah. That's,
no, 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 no. No, you're eating food every day.
yeah.
You are there. The children. We haven't talked about what can be happening to children who play in their yards, who play
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a daily basis.
Dirty water, play with dirt and things like that. I mean, a lot of those kids, that's how they get the pinworms.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And people don't think that you take your animals for a walk, right?
Hmm.
You have the animal living in the house.
Oh yeah,
You don't wash his feet before he goes in the house.
it's true.
You don't sanitize his feet before his paws before he goes in the house.
Hmm.
Some people may do that, but the average person doesn't. He goes in there and he don't know what he carries in there.
Yeah, and I look at pe- animal lovers, pet lovers, and I see they let the dog in the yard to go and do his thing, whatever. Well, he's running back there. He's mashing it. He's walking all over the previous poop that he pooped over there, and running all over the back there, and then coming back in the yard, in the house, sitting in the couch or going on the bed. I mean, what is that about? You know?
Oh, I don't think that the people think of those things.
No, people don't think about
I don't think they do. They see the pet as a savior or as a partner or whatever, and they're happy to have the pet in the bed. After they just take him for a walk, they take the pet for a walk. Let's
it.
look at the scenario. The pet goes out and he walks, or she walks, or it walks, wherever it walks. When the pet messes on the street, uh, who cleans it up? Who
Yeah.
cleans the mess? And then you go home, you go into the shower, you take your bath. You don't take the pet in the shower and give him a bath or give it a bath, right? Not at the same time, anyway. Well, these most people don't that I know of. So the pet, you come out of the shower and you're pretty clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the pet comes in the bed and sits in the bed with you.
Yep. And you kiss the pet, and he puts his paw in your hand. You play with him, and
Play with
yeah,
it.
you got problems. All this talk is reminding me of many years ago. I was doing like home care, and I was assigned this particular lady as client. I was in the Midwest, right? And I went to visit her, and this lady had maybe about 15 dogs. You know, she had cats. What else she had? She had so many animals living with her in the house.
Wow.
And when you walk in the house, there were wastes all over.
What do you mean waste?
Poop
Oh
from the
my.
animals. It didn't smell very pleasant. This was my first initial entrance into the house.
That was your
Oh boy.
introductory.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. I'm like, oh boy. You walk in the restroom and the stuff is all the poop is everywhere, and the kitchen and everywhere. And then the reason why she needs help is because she's having some liver issues, liver problems.
Okay,
Tell me what happened there.
okay. Well, we said it earlier.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
The average pet owner don't think about those things. Maybe they don't have the poop all over the house, but they have the pet, and the pet has comes with issues that you don't even know.
you know. I felt so I felt so bad for her. I'm sorry for her because it didn't. Number one, it didn't smell very pleasant, and seeing all that stuff everywhere, and then she's cooking on the stove with utensils that, and the stuff was everywhere. So I went there the first day and I looked at the issue, and I went home and I said, "Oh boy,
Did you eat that day?
no, are you kidding me?" I made sure. I mean, I felt real bad, and I'm saying I had this assignment for I think it was a 2 week assignment, and I didn't last the time. To be honest with you, I just that initial night I felt like I can't go back. I would not go back.
Mm,
I called and told them, hey, this is an issue, and I said to myself, oh boy, well, I felt as a helper to her. I felt like I was abandoning her, because I didn't want to go back. I went back the next day and I was telling my wife, I said, hey, I don't know, this is the issue. And she said, well, I don't know. Oh boy.
I can imagine.
So I put on gloves and everything. I went back there just to help her because the stuff was in the kitchen. So I know what she was eating when she's eating. Help to clean, help show her what, you know. But it's. I think it's a mental thing, though. I mean, I helped in the kitchen. I think I helped in the bathroom and whatever, clean up I did. But that was it. I didn't go back after that day. I told him I could not handle that assignment, and I indicated the conditions. But I mean, it's difficult. Some people live like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I went into somebody's house once. I didn't have that assignment. I was going to see her, and she had two children, young person too. And it wasn't too long ago, maybe a few years back, right here in Georgetown. And when I walked in, the first thing that greeted me was a mouse.
Who?
A mouse. Yeah. So I said to myself, well, maybe this is one mouse that,
A mouse? I mean, it was as a pet.
no, no.
Oh,
Listen to this. So she was ill, and I went there to see what was happening. And um, the mouse greeted me when I opened the door. The mouse was at the door on the ground, and it's like he belonged there. And I said, "You have a mouse?" And she says, "Yeah, I do." And then as I walked in further, on the table, the dining room table, there were many of them just crawling around,
what?
just eating stuff on the table. Yeah, and then I looked around and they were like living in there, like families. And they are there in the midst, she and her two children living
Oh,
in there.
oh yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Uh,
And their diseases that
oh
you get.
yeah, oh yeah.
So I got, I looked at that today. And I felt so sorry and sad because,
Yeah.
I mean, a human doesn't belong living in the midst of that.
No, no, that's very, very
She
dangerous.
eventually died,
Wow.
young, in her 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad. I mean, we not. It's not that we all of us are perfect in any way. I mean, we got our own issues too. But it's sad when you go and I mean, you know how you living, but then when you go and you see somebody living worse than you do,
Yeah.
and they're subjected to, I mean, all these different pathology. I call it pathologies. I mean, you know.
We only have a few minutes left, 10 minutes, I think,
Oh, okay.
9 minutes, but we may
No,
have a little more time.
yeah. So the consuming all those things. I mean, having been in an environment where there's a whole lot of fecal matter or other matters. I mean, worms live in those things.
Oh, yes.
The
Yeah.
cyst of the worms, they're very resistant. I mean, and you eat, you touch those things, and they stick in your hand or in utensils or whatever. You consume anything, that's what you're consuming.
Well,
You know.
someone said to me, but Doc, when you cook the food, doesn't it kill the worms?
Oh no.
Doesn't it kill? I mean, the worms don't die. Some of them may die, but you still have the larva.
Yeah, and they're called, the cyst. They're encrusted in shell, and it's
Exactly.
very heat resistant sort of um, um, shell.
Exactly.
They just survive. You know.
They're born to survive in all sorts of environments until they get into you, and then they
Hmm.
manifest, and
Yeah,
it's almost like they're here on a mission.
they are. I
You
mean,
know,
they are on a mission.
yeah, and they would consume those who subject themselves.
Hmm.
So the dead flesh, the fish, the chicken, the beef, the pork, the snails, the eel. I mean, all the things that produces the parasites and the worms and the cyst and it's they behave as though we are invading their territory.
And they want to come in so they don't have to work anymore.
Exactly.
They're living free.
They don't hunt anymore after they come.
No, no. And whatever you consume, they consume.
Exactly. They eat, they
Yeah,
mess, and they multiply.
yeah.
That's what they do. They don't come out and do it. They only come out when you threaten them or you kill them. Then they come out in the poop and you're dead. But I've actually seen persons who vomited
Yeah.
and worms came out alive out of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in their stomach.
Well,
And I mean it's ridiculous. It's ridiculously crazy because you tell people about these things, you talk to them about these things, and they think that you're crazy. You can't be right. Then someone asked me, doesn't everyone have worms? Is not the worm a part of us?
no.
Those are things that people say, believe it or not.
No.
Yeah,
People that consume a lot of animal products, flesh and so forth. Yeah, the worms are very present in them. Very present. Because you're eating that stuff every day. They're living in you. Now, not to say those who are not eating it don't have it, because those things, a lot of worms, like I said before, they exist, in the cyst form, and they can hang out on vegetables too.
of course, and fruits.
Salads and
Fruits, and if you
water.
don't wash the fruits properly,
Right,
you don't clean them properly, they're there. The
right.
cyst is there, the larva is there. If you don't wash the vegetables properly, they're there.
Yeah.
The flatworm lives around those things, and
Mhm.
if you don't sanitize them or cleanse them or wash them, that is the reason why you don't pick a fruit off a tree and just eat it.
Yeah.
You need to cleanse it. You need to wash it because even though it's coming out of your tree, it doesn't mean that something else doesn't live there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, bats usually consume birds usually. I mean, So these things are for real, and like you said earlier, we really in a war. We are in a war because all sorts of we talking about worms today, but you have bacteria, you have viruses, you have
Yeah,
fungi.
we haven't touched on those.
All those things are, and the goal is to take us down. You know,
That's their purpose.
to take us down
They take you down and then they continue to take you out.
and take you out.
They're eating you even when you're dead.
Yeah,
You
and,
know,
and I remember some years ago when I started this, I had a young man. He came in, I think his dad brought him in, and the guy's saying, "I am, I'm hearing voices and all sorts of things." I'm like, "What are you on?" Huh. So I'm not on anything. I'm not. He's not drinking. He doesn't do anything. He's just. When I checked him, it was a whole lot of worms, and I we dispensed the super parasite cleanse and the cascara detox, and then he came back to the next appointment. He was excited. As far as he's not hearing any more voices, and the worms came out, and
yeah,
he was excited. He says, "I saw the worm. I saw him. It's a big worm.
yeah,
I got him. I saw him." Well, I didn't want to see him, but he said, a lot of worms came out. So he wasn't hearing voices any longer. So that stuff can go in your head. You know,
yeah, yeah.
there's a worm that I know you probably have seen it. Schistosoma hematobium.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. That's the one that comes out of water,
Yeah,
dirty water and all that. One of them.
I saw that worm. That worm goes into the the uterus of the female, and it goes into the testes of the male. And I was screening. I did it start several times in people who are having problems, infertility.
Oh yes,
And I'm like, these worms are everywhere.
everywhere, everywhere.
You know.
You see, many persons they go and they bathe in creeks.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, many times when we're in there, we don't think, because I used to go and I stopped a long time now. We don't think that there are people maybe living upstream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're defecating in the water, they're bathing in the water, they're washing clothes, they're washing their dishes, they're washing their dirty socks on the weir, and they're downstream and they're bathing in the same water
Oh boy.
and have no clue that that mess is coming down because it's brown water. You can't really see; it's brown, and you see particles in the water if you really look. But I mean, you don't know. You're in there, and it's going all over your body. That water is going everywhere in your body,
Yeah.
and they go into men's penises, they go into women's vagina, they get into into your body system,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no clue that. And some people don't bathe after they come out of those creeks.
They
They
don't
don't
wash
wash
off.
off. No, they don't.
But
Many persons don't wash off. They think that's I just had a bath in the creek.
so they do. I mean, everything that
When you get here, I'm going to take you so you can see,
and
what's
people still
happening.
wash clothes in the creek too,
Of course they do. Of course they do.
in the river too.
Yes, the Demar River, some persons wash in the river. Yeah, they wash in the river because they that's what they have. That's all they have.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have serious issues with a lot of contaminants in the water, in the creek water, in the maybe the drinking water, and uh, the water that's being used. Yeah, serious issues, and there are lots of parasites in the water coming out of the water.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and diseases, and it's I understand that I saw today on the Brazilian news that there's some virus again that that there's a breakout of a virus there in Brazil
Wow.
coming from a bat.
All that.
Yeah, yeah.
But all these viruses, I'm wondering, where were they all along? Why all of a sudden they're coming from everywhere?
I think that they were there pretty much, but they probably some of them probably weren't there, but they as the ecosystem occurs, ecology and the intervention of chemicals and other factors that never existed before. Maybe these things are all occurring as a result of what's new, what's happening that's new.
Or
Because
or
because
maybe they already have it to release. I don't know. I don't trust a lot of things anymore, man.
maybe they're being released that were there stored up over time.
Yeah,
So maybe so, but
something.
it's possible that the manifestation occurs as a result of chemical reactions and other things that are formulated. You
And they're
know,
always blaming the bat.
the bat is being blamed again,
They're blaming the bat again.
blaming the bat again. Yeah, bat was blamed before,
Oh my
so
goodness.
this is wrong too.
So, what
We
you
got
have
about,
in this
we got
story?
about 4 more minutes, Doctor Richard.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that persons uh, visit the clinic. Numbers on the screen. Call, make an appointment, get yourself screened. Get yourself screened. We also didn't even get the chance to talk about the one that is sexually transmitted.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
there's that one there too, and you can transmit it from person to person
Hmm.
easily.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
that's the same one we talked about. Schistosoma hematobium.
there's another one.
Oh, there's one that you showed me that I have never seen.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but we don't have the time now. But we will continue this discussion next Thursday uh, because I think it's important for persons to be able to be educated or edified as to what else is contributing to their demises, including cancer. Because cancer is on the warpath. So many people I've seen in the last 2 3 weeks,
Hmm.
full of cancer, full of real cancer. Yeah, and sometimes uh, they know they know something is up, something is going on, and they're afraid. They're afraid to really go to get diagnosis because people say, well, if I go, they're going to cut off this or cut that out and all of that. But in my opinion, and I think in your opinion too, but I know in my opinion, these worms and parasites
Hmm.
are playing a very serious role in the formulation of cancer and cancer cells, the
Yeah,
activation of the cancer cells, not
I
the
agree. I
formation, the
agree.
activation.
I agree.
And what we see or what is seen sometimes as a tumor, as I say it from time to time, could very well be a nest of worms.
Yeah.
Could very well be. And when you talk about cancer spreading here and spreading there, I mean, if you have a body that's infested with parasites and worms, um, these things are eating and they can take things all over your body.
Yeah. It's
You
true.
know. So I would like us to continue this topic on the next program, and I'm asking everyone to like, hit the button there and subscribe, and tell your friends, like and subscribe so that when the program comes on, you could be made aware
Hmm.
and you could learn a lot of things that we teach here. We talk about realities. We don't talk about fictitious things. We talk reality things that are happening to persons on a daily basis, and we trying to save people from the demise of those things that we talk about. So um, tune in and tell your friends, tell all your friends, because we're going to hit the subject at some point that may be linked to one of them, and they can learn what to do or what to avoid or what not to do, so that they can not become a victim of some condition that can take them out.
Hmm.
You know. So, any final words
Yeah. Uh,
for
don't
now? for now.
Yeah, for now, the worms are for real, and they're to be taken seriously, because uh, we're seeing them every day. We're running into them every day.
Every day,
Yeah.
every single day. You
Uh,
know, and I mentioned, I think last week that your last program that I actually screened someone with 14 different worms, 14 in the body, 14 different ones.
that's a lot of worms.
And who knows how long they're there. And then
Wow.
they're eating, messing, and multiplying in there. And that person is very sick.
Yeah. With all that worms, yeah, they're sick, not feeling well.
Yeah. So don't think that you're exempted. If you listen to us, don't think that you're exempted. You too may be laden with parasites and worms that
Yep.
need to exit your body, if living or dead. We had the image up there of the person who doubted, who didn't believe or didn't think that worms existed until she saw them, and she was wise enough or brave enough to break up the stool and just to see if I was right or wrong.
Hmm.
And she found some of them, and
There's
she,
a lot more. I know there would have to be
oh,
a lot more.
of course, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Because those things don't like to be found, especially when they're exposed to light. Because all the where they're living right now is dark.
Darkness, yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. So until next week or next time, tune in, hit the button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends next time to tune in at 6 o'clock, and just put in there Dr. Joseph Haynes or Dr. Haynes, and it'll come up. Okay, so Dr. Richard, thank you once again.
Thank you for the invite.
Appreciate your input, and may you be continually blessed
Hmm.
to keep the work going, so we can continue to help others.
That's right.
So
Thank
until
God.
next time, my friends and family and well wishers, God bless you. So long. Have a wonderful weekend.
Mhm.